A 73-year-old man walked into the same bank he had used for 30 years, asked to take out $5,000 of his own money, and walked back out with his entire account frozen. For 19 days, he could not touch a single dollar of his own savings. And here is the part that should stop you cold. He did absolutely nothing wrong. There was no scam. There was no mistake. There was no mistake. The bank froze him on purpose, and under a rule that took effect in a lot of states this year, they were completely allowed to. If you are over 65, this can now happen to you. And almost no one has been told. Because your bank has quietly been handed the legal power to delay your withdrawals, hold your transfers, and lock you out of your own account for up to 15 business days. That is 3 full weeks. Not because you did anything wrong, but because you crossed an age line you did not even know existed. I went through all of it, the new state laws, the federal guidance, the bank policies, and I found 6 specific things that can trigger one of these holds. Some of them you probably do every single week without thinking twice. The 6th one traps people who are only trying to move their own money between their own accounts. But here is the good news, and it is the reason you need to stay with me all the way to the end. There is one thing, one free phone call, that makes you almost impossible to freeze. Almost no senior has heard of it. I am going to hand it to you, but the order matters, so do not skip ahead. My name is Ellis Grant. I am not a lawyer, and I do not work for the government. I have spent years reading the fine print on these rules, the parts written to be skipped, and I tell you in plain words what they actually mean for your money. I am not selling you anything, and I do not make a dime whether your account ever gets frozen or not. I just read the rules, so you don't have to. And before I start, one thing. I don't care if you're 65 or 95. And I don't care if you are sure your little bank has never done this and never would. Watch all 6 of these before you decide none of them applies to you, because the people this happens to are almost always the ones who were certain it never could. Now, let me answer the question I can already feel some of you asking. If this is real, why has no one ever told me? It is a fair question, and the answer is simple. Nobody whose job it is to talk to you has any reason to bring it up. The bank is not going to advertise that it can hold your money. The people who write these laws are not going to call your house. And the news moves on to the next thing in a day. So the rule sits there, quietly on the books, and the only people who find out are the ones it happens to. Today, we fix that. So let me explain what actually changed, because this is the part the scary headlines leave out. For years, when a bank suspected an older customer was being scammed, the bank's hands were mostly tied. They could warn you, but they could not hold your money. If they delayed your transfer and they turned out to be wrong, you could sue them. So they let the money move. The problem was that real fraud against seniors exploded, billions of dollars a year. And lawmakers decided the banks needed more power to step in. So they passed what are called safe harbor laws. As of this year, more than half of all states have one on the books. Here is what a safe harbor law does, in plain English. It says that if a bank reasonably believes an older customer is being financially exploited, the bank can pause the transaction, hold the money, and delay your access. And you cannot hold them responsible for the delay. They are protected. That is what safe harbor means. It is a safe harbor for the bank, not for you. And the word these laws use is specified adult. A specified adult means anyone 65 and older. That is you. That is the line. The day you turned 65, you quietly became part of a special category that the rest of the population is not in. And the hold is not a day or two. The common window written into these rules is up to 15 business days. This means 15 holidays do not count. Between weakness trees count acts to 3 weeks on your own money, while the bank estimate investigates whether you are safe, without needing your permission to do it. Now, I want to be fair with you because I am not here to frighten you. The intention behind these laws is good. They were written to stop a grandmother from wiring her life savings to a fake grandson in jail or to a romance scammer she has never met. That is a real and terrible problem. But here is the part that affects you, the honest senior who is not being scammed at all. The bank does not know the difference between a scam and your normal life, so they built systems that guess, and those systems get it wrong, constantly. Let me show you exactly what trips the wire. Trigger number 1. A sudden large withdrawal or transfer. If you have had a quiet, predictable account for years and you suddenly ask for $10, $15, $20,000, whether it's to help a grandchild with a down payment, to buy a car, or to fix the roof, that request alone can flag your account. The very thing you saved the money for is the thing that gets it held. Let me put a face on it, because the numbers don't land until you picture a person. Think of a woman I'll call Dorothy. Dorothy is 68. She had saved, quietly for years, to finally replace the roof that had been leaking into a bucket in her spare room every time it rained. The contractor wanted $12,000 to start, so Dorothy went to her bank, the same one she'd used since her husband was alive, and asked for it. And the bank froze her account because in 30 years she had never once moved that much money at one time. The roof waited 3 more weeks, and Dorothy sat at home with $12,000 of her own money on the other side of a wall she couldn't get through. What to do about it? Never spring a large withdrawal on your bank cold. Call ahead, or better, walk in a few days early and tell them in person. On Friday, I am going to withdraw $15,000 for a new roof. Saying it out loud in advance on the record does 2 things. It gives the bank time to have the cash ready, and it puts a clear, innocent reason on your file before the computer can invent a suspicious one. Announced money does not look like stolen money. Surprise money does. Trigger number 2, and this one catches the most innocent people of all, the behavior change. The banks now use computer systems, artificial intelligence, that learn what they call your financial heartbeat, the rhythm of how you normally bank. And the moment something breaks that rhythm, it gets flagged. I want you to hear some of the things that count as a red flag, because they will shock you. Logging into your account from a new phone or a new tablet, the kind your children might give you as a gift. Suddenly using Zelle or Venmo when you never had before. A change in how you type. Even a tremor in your hand that slows you down. Sending money to a person you have never sent money to before. None of those things mean you are being scammed. All of them can freeze your account. Picture a man I'll call Frank. Frank is 71, and for Christmas his daughter gave him a brand new tablet and set up his banking app on it so he could check his balance from his chair. The first time Frank logged in from that new device, from a new location the bank had never seen, the system saw a stranger. It did exactly what it was built to do. It locked him out. A gift from his own daughter set off the alarm. What to do about it? When something in your life genuinely changes, tell your bank before the computer notices. These are all worth a 2-minute call to say, this is me, this is new, and it is normal. You are writing your own explanation before the machine writes a worse one. Let's say scridding up your people would ridge on 10,000 prison over it. Let's say you hear that withdrawing $1,000 and trigger an automatic federal report. So you think, I'll just take out $9,000 today and stay under the week, or to not ever do that. Structuring. And it is actually done. That was a magic sister to his car, and federal law terrible treats it as a crime. It is called money. The entire town was behind closed money gone, simply because the pattern looked like they were hiding something. Crime. Think of a woman named Ilona was create this mission to move closer to her kids. She'd heard that $10,000 was a the government as a con, and she did not want the Unagis. So she took it out carefully, a few thousand at a time, over a few weeks. She thought she was being safe. The danger was only one, trying to be honest, and report iskavlit. The tendop retort on the derby serik, and let the governments apart. Take of a woman you're an arrogant dorit without doing unjustified. You know. Trigger number 4. The dormant account sweep. This one quietly takes money from seniors every single year, and almost no one knows about it. If you have an account you rarely touch, an old savings account, a certificate of deposit, a fund you set aside and left alone, and there is no activity on it for a period of time, often around 3 years, the bank can legally declare it abandoned. And when they do, they hand your money over to the state as what is called unclaimed property. Your own money, sitting in the state's hands, waiting for you to come find it, which most people never do. I think of a man I'll call George. George did everything right. 40 years ago, he opened a savings account for a rainy day, put a good chunk of money in it, and then, because he was disciplined, he never touched it. That was the whole point. But the bank system doesn't see discipline, it sees silence. After years of no activity, it flagged the account as abandoned and handed George's rainy day fund over to the state. The money he was most proud of was the money he lost track of, precisely because he never spent it. What to do about it? Touch every account at least once a year. Log in or make one small transaction, a $1 transfer in or out. Anything that proves the account is alive. 1 minute, once a year, per account, keeps your money yours instead of the state's. And that brings me to a warning I have to give you, because this kind of money trouble draws a certain kind of thief. Here is how it works. The moment there's confusion around seniors and frozen accounts, the phone calls start. Someone calls, sounds official, and says they're from your bank's fraud department. They tell you your account has been flagged, which, after a video like this, sounds frighteningly plausible, and that to protect your money, they need you to confirm your account number or move your savings to a safe account they'll set up for you. Stop. Hang up. Your real bank will never call you out of the blue and ask you to move your money to a new account to keep it safe. That call is the scam. The freeze is a real thing your bank does quietly in the background. It is not something a helpful stranger phones you about. If you're ever worried, you hang up and you call the number on the back of your own card. Before I give you the last two triggers, I want to give you a piece of protection that has nothing to do with the bank at all. Keep a modest amount of cash safely at home. I am not telling you to empty your accounts or to distrust your bank. I am telling you that if your account is ever held for 3 weeks, you still need to eat. You still need to pay the electric bill. You still need your medicine. A reasonable cushion of cash means a freeze becomes an inconvenience instead of an emergency. Do not be one of them. Now, trigger number 5. The investigation hold. This is the one I see do the most damage. When any of these systems flags your account, the bank can hold it while they investigate. And during that hold, you may not be able to withdraw or transfer. Your direct deposits keep coming in, but you cannot get them out. And the people on the phone, the tellers, the customer service line, they often cannot lift it because the hold was placed by a separate department you are not even allowed to call directly. What to do about it? This is exactly why the phone call I'm about to give you matters so much, because the best way to survive an investigation hold is to make sure it never gets placed in the first place. Hold that thought. Trigger number 6. The out-of-state or online transfer. This one surprises people who are simply trying to move their own money between their own accounts. If you try to wire money to another state, to an online-only bank, to a brokerage, or to a newer account you just opened, the system often treats distance and newness as danger. Those things together look exactly like what a scammer would do with a victim's money. So it gets rejected or held, even though it is just you moving your own savings to your own account. What to do about it? When you plan to move money to a different institution, do it in stages and tell both banks first. Move a small amount first, let it clear, then move the rest. A planned, announced, gradual move sails right through. And now we are at the most important part of this entire video, because everything I have told you so far is the problem. This is the solution. The single most powerful thing you can do to protect yourself, and it is so simple that most people skip right past it. It is called a trusted contact. Almost every bank and brokerage now lets you name a trusted contact on your account, and shockingly few seniors have done it. A trusted contact is one person, a son, a daughter, a close friend, someone you trust completely, whose name and number you give the bank in advance. Here is why it changes everything. When the bank system flags your account, and they are about to hold it because they think you might be getting scammed, The trusted contact gives them someone to call to check that you are fine. Instead of slamming the door shut for 15 business days, they make one phone call. Your daughter says, "Yes, Mom is buying a car." That is completely normal. And the freeze never happens. You have preloaded the answer before they ever ask it. And I want to be clear about what this does not do. A trusted contact cannot move your money. They cannot see your balance. They cannot make a single decision for you. All they can do is vouch that you are a real person living your real life. It is the cheapest insurance in all of personal finance. It costs nothing, and you can set it up with one phone call to your bank this afternoon. If you do only one thing after this video, do that. But I want you to do more than one thing, because the people who never get frozen are the ones who set up a few quiet layers. So here is the rest. Set up a durable financial power of attorney in a form your bank will actually accept. This names someone you trust to act for you if you ever cannot. And those words, "in a form your bank will accept," matter, because banks reject generic ones off the internet all the time. Done correctly, it means there is always someone who can step in and free your money if you are in the hospital or simply cannot get to the branch. Keep a second banking relationship. Never let one institution hold all of your access. If your main account is ever held, a second account at a different bank or credit union means you are never completely cut off from cash. And add a payable on death designation to your accounts. This passes the money directly to the person you name the moment it is needed, without it being trapped in a slow, frozen legal process. Now, let me tell you why all of this is landing right now, this year, and not 10 years ago. Two things happened at the same time. The fraud against seniors got so large that lawmakers finally acted. And at the very same time, the banks rolled out the artificial intelligence that watches your account around the clock. So you have new legal power to freeze handed to institutions that now have a tireless machine looking for reasons to use it. That is the collision. The law changed, and the technology changed, and nobody sent you a letter about either one. Now, remember the man I told you about at the very start? The retiree, held for 19 days. His name was Raymond. And he is the reason I take this so seriously. The $5,000 he tried to withdraw was to help his own grandson with the deposit on his first apartment. The boy had genuinely called him. Raymond was thrilled to help. But because it was a sudden, large withdrawal, tied to a young man of exactly the kind these systems are trained to flag, the bank froze everything while they investigated whether his real grandson was a scammer. He did nothing wrong. The system did exactly what it was built to do. And here is what breaks my heart about it. If Raymond had simply named his son as a trusted contact, one phone call would have ended the whole thing in an afternoon. He did not know the option existed. Now you do. And if your account is already frozen right now, here is what to do in the first 48 hours. First, do not argue with the teller. They did not place the hold, and they cannot lift it. Ask them one question only. Which department placed this hold, and how do I reach it directly? Second, get the reason and the timeline in writing. Third, give them an easy way to say yes. Offer your trusted contact. Offer a family member who can verify you. And fourth, if it drags past the date they promised, escalate. Every state has an office that regulates banks, and a written complaint there often gets a response in days, not weeks. I know this is a lot, and I know it can feel like the rules are quietly being rewritten against the very people who saved the most and worked the hardest. That is exactly why I do this, because the truth is, you are not powerless here. A trusted contact, a proper power of attorney, a backup account, announcing your big withdrawals in advance. These are small, simple moves, and together they make you almost impossible to freeze. The seniors this happens to are not the careless ones. They are the ones who were never told. And now you have been. So here is what I want you to do this week. Call your bank and ask to add a trusted contact. That is the one that matters most. It is free, it takes 5 minutes, and it is the single strongest thing standing between you and a 3-week freeze. Everything I cover, the trusted contact, the power of attorney, the exact words to say on that call, I've put together in one plain English guide, and the link is down in the description if you want it. But everything you need to take the first step is right here. And if this opened your eyes, do one thing for me. Share it with one person you love who is over 65. Because the bank is not going to call them and explain any of this. You might be the only one who does. Subscribe, turn on the bell so the next one finds you, and I will see you in the next video.